I was once the leader of the two largest anti-Islam groups in Australia, the United Patriots Front and Reclaim Australia. These two movements had thousands of members across the country. These two groups I led for quite some time against Islam. I wished to destroy all mosques and remove all Muslims from Australia. I'm going to give you one word: lifestyle. And by this I mean a new, pure lifestyle with great values such as stoicism, morality, honour, protectionism, all the things that make this faith so very great, as well as a love for Allah. When I was a kuffar still, I lived all these sins kuffar do, I was living them. And because I lived them, I now started investigating into Islam, reading about different quotes from the Quran and different Islamic texts, and then watching videos from Islamic preachers talking about morality and how their women conduct themselves. And I was watching these videos, Muslim women talking about they should protect their morality and not be sexual objects that men glorify as sex objects. And I was like, wow, it brought me back to that image when I was in the pub that night of that non-Muslim woman with her butt up in the air and her friends clapping, telling her to get her blood on. I'm like, this woman, this sister is preaching about morality and decency and morals and protecting herself, and this other one is displaying herself like an open can of dog food to every man in the vicinity of the area. This was a real eye-opener for me, as well as the way the men conduct themselves in Islam. You know, they're not out writing themselves off horribly on alcohol, they're not taking copious amounts of drugs. And when I say they're practicing Muslim, not a person who calls themselves Muslim by name but does not conduct themselves as a Muslim, does not follow the values of the Holy Quran. I'm talking about practicing Muslim men. They will pray 5 times a day, they will work out, lift weights and do fight training, keep their body physically fit and strong in case they ever have to defend the Ummah. They will pray, they praise Allah, they thank Allah for everything. This is the purity of Islam and bringing you back to the right path. People sit there and say many things about Muslims. I heard it all. I used to be one of them that said them myself, being the leader, or former leader, of 2 of the largest anti-Islam groups in Australia. So I heard all the things, you know, Muslims do this, Muslims do that, Muslims are terrorists, Muslims chain their wives to the kitchen sink and are not allowed to leave the house. These are all the things you will hear from the kuffar who have no idea. They had not picked up one Quran in their life. My brothers from New Zealand, my Muslim brothers from New Zealand said, we need to be out there correcting all the propaganda that has been spread about Muslims, all the lies in the media and Hollywood movies that has been spread about Muslims. We need to show them true Islam and that Allah is a beautiful, merciful, thankful God. The other reason is, if you look at any Hollywood movie, the USA and Israel are always the good guys, the Muslims are always the bad guys, they are always the ones trying to kill people, hurt people and so forth. But this brainwashing is what brought me into the anti-Islam movement, because in my mind, after receiving this brainwashing, I saw Islam as a direct threat to the Australian way of life, and I saw in my own heart at that time that I had to do something to protect the nation that I lived in. There was nothing further from the truth.